My name is Johan Linder. I'm here today with my distinguished colleague Johanna Hellberg. I'm going to elaborate a little bit how IKEA manages the biggest integration landscape in Europe and how we manage also complexity and stay current at the same time. Before I start, I heard we had distinguished people here from the Home Office. Yes, so many thanks for a very simple ETA visa application process. It worked like a charm. 19 quid and you're done, even if you're from Sweden. So I'm not used to that. You know, it's used to be Schengen and all that, but that's good. The agenda for today, we'll have a short intro. We will elaborate on understanding the IKEA history, a little about the business development, 1943 until 2026. I'll try to keep it brief. We're not going to discuss and make this into an episode of Emmersdale Forum or something else, but rather short and concise. A little about the IT journey, because we have evolved from a very beginning, if you wish. A little about what the integration concepts over time, our batch mechanism that's been reused. We will discuss a little bit about the IKEA data routing system, which we now have. It's a huge legacy system that we are dismantling successfully. We will talk also about the IT transition from a supporting process to a business process and what that means for us. We will discuss simplification through migration and the different efforts we are pushing through there. We will elaborate on development and platform, and then, of course, lessons learned. And before I went here, of course, I went to the keynote as well, and I thought that IKEA, we got to be alone. We're in a dire situation, and I figure out that Bormann Engelmann has the same problematic situation that we do. A lot of old systems that's being used continuously, isolated or connected, but the data is maybe not the same. It's not consumable. It's a hard nut to crack. But I will elaborate that later in the presentation. Shortly about me. I'm a platform leader for B2B Web Methods, IDRS, the big dinosaur platform I just mentioned, and SnapLogic as well. I've been a regular board member at IKEA IT in the past, solution owner of data integrations for the lot, solution architect, senior product manager, etc., etc. So I've seen some, how should I say, things in my career at IKEA as well the last 14 years. And with me today I have Johanna Hellberg. She's also a platform leader. Yes. You want to introduce yourself? Maybe that would be nicer.
Yes, Johanna Hellberg, working with IKEA for 3 years, coming from H&M. Also, a big, huge IT landscape, so from one to another. Today I am a platform leader, and I am the service delivery responsible for bringing new technology into the legacy platform with OFP program. Yes.
Sure. So without further ado, I'll welcome you to the IKEA world.
Back in 1943, our founder Ingvar Kamprad started IKEA in a small shed in Almhult. Today, we're a franchise business with more than 230,000 co-workers in over 60 markets. We reach billions of people and homes through our stores, planning studios, online presence and more. We have a unique value chain that starts with design and continues through manufacturing, supply and retail. But just relax, you'll have plenty of time to learn about this.
You don't have to feel alone walking to IKEA. Believe me, we all do things together and everybody will also get the support that's needed.
It can be overwhelming, and I would say start with understanding your little piece of the puzzle. And as you're working, you'll slowly see the other pieces fall into place.
Already, a short reflection on this infomercial. IKEA can be overwhelming at times. Yes, definitely. If I want to have something done, I'm shocked about the amount of integrations I'm facing or need to investigate in order to do something. If I want to roll out something to the retail sites, I remember my first project, 2012, rolling out 3 blade servers into 420 IKEA retail sites. That was an effort of roughly 14 million euros, 26 resources, and 2.5 years. So a very small project becomes very big. Now that's all changed, virtualization and everything, of course, but we see improvements on that area. Start with understanding your piece of the puzzle. You will slowly see the other pieces fall into place. Yet, that may be true if you're in a certain domain like retail or supply or range, but as systems are communicating between the domains, it's hard to maintain vision, what's happening with data. Who are consuming the data being sent from a source system to another? And where is it going? And how is it responding, et cetera, et cetera. I'll show you the perfect example of that later in the presentation to show you the complexity. We do everything together. Everyone will get the support that they need. That's true, but it's darn difficult from a platform perspective to go to CEO and say, hey, can I have 50 million euros? I got a LCM product. I need to phase out one of my platforms. He will ask me, what's the return on investment? Maybe there is none, but in this case, we have certain challenges we have to mitigate, and therefore we move forward. We're doing this as we have 230,000 co-workers in 64 markets. So it's an open heart surgery at the same time, which makes things really, really complex at times. And at the same time, IKEA has the ambition to be the world's largest omnichannel retailer of home goods. We have the traditional IKEA warehouses. We have all seen those really large 40,000 square meters warehouses. We also have city centers. There are points of presence or stores in a store. And coming back to city centers, I think there's one store at Oxford Street. That's a typical example of a small IKEA store, if you wish, in a city center. There is pick, collect, and there's different alternatives of delivery offered. So IKEA is constantly seeking after the right concept of selling furniture, just to make it really easy for everybody to collect what they have ordered. If you now have ordered a new kitchen, you might not be so, how to say, amused to wait for 2 hours getting your pieces that you have ordered, or a new couch from whatever brand, or I would say mark or size. You like to have it delivered at home or even assembled at home. So there are other services where we're looking at exploring to support those processes. And at the same time, we also have a carbon neutrality goals. Looking at packaging, if we open a sea container at IKEA, there's no air, literally. None whatsoever. From bottom to top, it's loaded with packages, and it's been planned that way. So there's no spillage. Shipping, well, we try to see what's possible. In Amsterdam, we put in electrical, like rickshaws, red ones, to make small deliveries, because that's climate neutral, right? And it doesn't have an impact on the environment, so why not? We're testing different concepts. We have resealing. So if a consumer has come back and they say, well, I like this chair a lot, but I really don't see that it will fit. Everything is complete. We have resealment capabilities in the stores. Rather than sending back the package to a distribution center in the UK, which will cost a lot of diesel or effort or hours, we reseal it in the store and we put it on stock again. It's got a complete package, it's a sellable furniture, nothing is missing, so that's fine. Sun cells is mandatory. So every larger retail site we roll out today actually has sun cells to support the electricity bill for the organization and also minimize the footprint, if you wish, from a carbon perspective. There's investments in wind parks. I know all over Scandinavia and other countries as well, where the INCA organization goes in, and also Econo, to invest in wind parks. And of course, there is real estate as well, where Econo Bank will go in as a real estate funder, if you wish, and they will buy then climate-smart flat blocks or whatnot, furnished with IKEA furniture and isolated to the latest specs. So there's a lot of incentive going on to reduce the carbon footprint, if you wish. Moving over to the IT journey, it starts in 1969. I think that if you visit Elmwood, you can see a nice photo of 30 people with white sort of dentist or doctor coats, all the pocket protectors. There were about 30 people, 20 people punching in hole cards and 10 operators, and that was it. traditionally, IT has been viewed as a supporting process. Ingvar Kamprad always viewed IT as the necessary evil. We should invest too much in that, but about as much as needed, but not more than that. So, in order to understand today's challenges with that legacy and what we have been through, one must also understand the evolution of IT history at IKEA. So I will discuss a little bit of the integration landscape concept we've had over time, just as a general orientation. Starting beginning of time, we had the point-to-point systems, mainframe, sharing data to other systems across our landscape within IKEA. Worked as a charm, but it has its limitations. We had the CPI era, where we tried to consolidate information and share it with the system that actually needed it at the end. Resulting in a landscape like this. Then we got the IX era. IX era is using then the IDRS systematic, or I should say the IDRS mechanism to transport data. And that's a system where you have a sender node sending something to a destination node. And there are also flavors to that. So we also have piggyback constructions. A node sends something to node B, and then somehow somebody has constructed another integration from the receiving node, sending it somewhere else. And that might or might not be documented as well. So there's some, how shall I say, things to be researched and validated before we move forward. Moving over time, we got the IKEA integration platform where we kind of moved to a data cache to make a sort of a centralized point where all information could be consumed from. So we have had that flavor as well. Worked as a charm, but has also its limitations, of course. And in conclusion to this, we've also had batch integration mechanisms over time, where we have, and that's something that IKEA is really good at, we consume a batch of information, transport it from one system to another, and then an application will do something and send it on to the next one. So we have a lot of dependencies as well. So if we look at the entire timeline, and this is now a really quick one, just to save some time in the interest of time, we have had an enterprise scheduler down here called Control M that has triggered all these jobs. IDRS is the platform we're talking about from the IXF era period, which has been triggering works. And that's all different depending on requirements from the business. Maybe you have an update of stock in a store. That goes maybe once every day or twice every day. We have other applications that require an update and a scheduler being run every 10 minutes. So that's all different. There's a sort of a business logic built into this, if you wish, as well. Because all of these systems that will follow and consume the data use the schedulers as well, make it rather complex to analyze the flow. Then something happened. We decided to implement e-commerce as a part of finding our way to become, the world-leading omni-channel retailer. Barbara Martin Coppola came in as a CDO in 2018 within Inca, and she was then, pronounced as the new CDO, and COVID-19 strikes us as well. And of course, as Barbara came in, she had also a strong drive to simplify things. She came then from Google, actually. And that was a good thing, absolutely. To drive the summer of evolution, I would say, IKEA is known for its point-to-point integration patterns we've had. It's been combined with piggyback patterns, which has not helped us. Batch-driven, not with any logic in there. And we have avoided traditionally to introduce business logic in our patterns. We have focused on dumb pipes and smart endpoints, letting the applications work and process the data rather than building in logic into our integration. So that's been the setup so far. So what's the challenges at hand? Well, you guess it. We have a large technology debt, of course, because many of these platforms are IKEA proprietary. We need to do something about this and fall forward and migrate to other supported platforms. That's imperative for us right now. Of course, in that situation, the role of enterprise architecture is also crucial. If we don't have a strategy, it's hard for us to work out tactical plans. If we don't have tactical plans, we cannot work out operational plans. So that's been the caveat. Untangling the spaghetti nest. I saw the keynote just an hour ago, an enormous spaghetti nest. It was like a big thread. I'll show you another one just in a few moments. It's very comparable to that. But my advice is, in any case, start early, start small. Even if we have small efforts on the business solution level, investigations must take place, and we must start somewhere to find patterns to fall forward to. Hence, slice the elephant. I'm now going to talk a little bit about the IKEA data routing system, simplified. I'm not going to go into a lot of details here, but I discussed it was an IXF file-based system, all IKEA proprietary, fantastic. So how does this affect us? Over here, we have retail stores, 420 pieces of them. Over here, we have a CPI called Helena. So somewhere at the beginning of time, somebody has enabled a flow for a business solution called CBD. And some other people heard of this in the 80s. Well, that seems like a good idea. You have, are you reading data from, then we'll tag along. So we have Athena and other solutions. I'm not asking you now to test your eyes to read what actually stands here. That's irrelevant. It's about the complexity and how things have grown into a large flow, just stemming from actually one source, CBD as a business solution. If we need to untangle this, we have to look at the retail side, exactly what's being consumed, and move backwards, try to eliminate the dependencies. So that's my point. Looking at the active integrations, we have complete control and insight in how many integrations we have and how they communicate over the different parts of IKEA. The numbers here are irrelevant, but I think that the complexity and how should I say, they communicate within intra-IKEA or within Inca, or they exchange information to another entity like Econobank or another business solution or business division even, makes it really complex to move anyway. Hence, something occurred called kraftsamla. Kraftsamla is Swedish for concentrating power. That's normally used in a regular warehouse when you have to unload a truck that comes along with 72 pallets. 10 minutes for 10. The store is about to open. Then you hear on the PA system, kraftsamla. Everybody from the director of the store to the cleaner will run to the loading dock, push out 72 pallets, and start to distribute the goods. It doesn't matter if it's candles, glasses, napkins, furniture. Within half an hour, the job is done. It's harder with IT to do kraftsamla, because you will actually more or less encounter a catch-up effect sooner or later. Got it. But for this integration, or how should I say migration, we have a scope of roughly 32,250 integrations that we need to move to something else. And it concerns then range supply, retail, HR, and finance. All our systems that are important for IKEA to go about its daily business. So, to simplify this, we are executing a lot of projects and programs. To start with the Business Operations Transformation Program, BOT, within Inca. Those guys are both addressing the business process as well as the core financial systems used within IKEA as a complete organization. We have the order flow program, which Johanna is representing here today, where we're looking at the critical order flow. And we have roughly 15 SL1 other business solutions and 30 SL2 business solutions that also needs to be migrated from our perspective. So it's a rather big undertaking. Let me see here. So, for our perspective, SnapLogic has of course been an ease of use for the development teams. The resources that stream into Johanna's team and also my team has had really short wind-up period. It's rather easy to use. We have been using both public and premium Snap packs. We have a large implementation of SAP S/4HANA, and also Databricks is something that we started with recently, actually. And it's been going quite well, I must argue. Our platform today is cloud-based, so we have a cluster of 4 nodes in production. We have a pre-production cluster of 4 nodes as well. Test cluster, 2 nodes, and then, of course, a development environment of 1 node. So that's what we use to, how shall I say, facilitate SnapLogic today. From my perspective then, as a platform lead for SnapLogic, we have never had any downtime. It's 100%, ever. The ease of maintenance has been fantastic because we can actually upgrade 1 node after another and let it rejoin the cluster, and then we're good. And of course, our relation with SnapLogic has been good as well, both from a commercial perspective, but also support, because we also run into bugs and we notice behaviors that we don't recognize. But we work that out. There are also hiccups that happens now and then. Finally, lessons learned. CIO, CDO support. I started to shake the management tree, I think, in February last year. The 23rd of January this year, Benny Svensson, our CIO within IKEA, took the unanimous decision to remove IDRS as a platform. That's record time to amass all IKEA to come to a final conclusion decision that we're going to actually terminate a platform. But we have to. I have a couple of operators. I think they're 62 and 63 years old. They've been around since the introduction of IDRS 1989. And please, let the people retire sometime, So I have to move those integrations somewhere else. So I will give them a worthy goodbye, and hopefully will be done by then. So CIO, CDO support is essential, because otherwise we won't get anywhere. Enterprise architecture roadmaps are equally important on a strategical and tactical level. And of course, I discussed before, untangling the spaghetti nest, it takes a lot of time. Don't underestimate the complexity. Start early, start small, and slice the elephant. And that's all for me. Thank you. And I think there's time for questions. Any questions?
Hold on. Thank you. Do you want to get through? Sorry.
Sir.
So as you said, the 4-node production environment.
Yes.
It's a big organization. What is the transaction throughput? How many transactions per second you are processing?
Right now?
Yes.
The last time I checked inside, I think it's 4 or 5%. 4 or 5% load right now.
4 or 5%?
Yes. So we have oversized because we're building for the future. And the reason behind that is that when we did the sizing, we could not estimate upfront what the order flow program would mean for us. We had indications of 8 to 20 million records coming our way. So we sized for that, and we've been passing that test with flying colors.
32,000 integration, you said.
No, that's for IDRS. We have less integrations on SnapLogic. So our SnapLogic journey started about 3.5 years ago. So I think altogether we have 250-ish snaps right now, both on APIs and then regular snaps. But we're getting there. Any more questions? The lady in the back. Pardon me.
Hey Johan.
Hey, hey.
Hey. I'm also Swedish, as you
I know.
noticed.
I heard it on your accent.
I heard I sounded Irish earlier. So
Irish.
But I'm glad you're hearing we're neighbors.
Don't stand there picking your nose.
I was just curious, because maybe being a fellow Swede and also having worked with IKEA in the past in a previous role, and a huge organization, right?
Yes.
As you're going about this, and I wanted to say that you are end-of-lifing the internal application 2028, is that right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sweden being a fairly consensus-driven culture, and I think in a large organizations, that's always a challenge as well in terms of decision-making. How are you going about prioritizing the type of work and sort of getting there in time?
That ties into the work with the CEO, CDO, and architects. For me, it's been a journey for a year, explaining people that we need to move to something else. People are getting retired. I cannot guarantee SL1 levels in 1 year. Listen. And eventually people will listen. But it's been a longer journey in Scandinavia with the consensus method, that, as you have indicated. Also, from a business perspective, what's your motivation to move away from IDRS? It's been working for 40 years. Why break a winning combination? You've been able to consume data cheap for 40 years. And now you're telling me to move to something else? Why? So that dialogue has to be going or be set up as well with retail and how should I say, range and supply in the different domains. Also Inca. So that's been a challenge for us, all of us. But we have overcome that part, so I'm really proud that we could get the oil tanker to shift course rather quickly. It took us a year, but the decision has been reached. So right now, as we speak, analysis is being conducted, and designs are actually coming up as well. So that's very positive. Any more questions? Sir?
Just kind of follow on. So how did you convince them to change the course of the oil tanker and make an investment when?
I would say, how should I put this? I think you have to use my hard skills a little bit, and explain that, at July 1st, 2021, that's it. I cannot go further. So I have to be concise, and I have to be determined, and have the backing of management as well, to set an end of life and end of support date. There was no other way. And there's no way we can, move around that, because people are getting retired. So we're in the same situation as other companies that has legacy landscapes, unfortunately. So we have to move away, and I think that it takes time to convince people. But on the other hand, what is then the chance of something happening in the future, and how do you rectify that if you don't have the personnel to resolve the issues? Who knows the core of IDRS in 5 years? I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So this was a relatively easier, how should I say, situation to create some support, absolutely. But it's been a long journey, for sure, to get that big oil tanker shift course anyways. But it's been done. It's been done.